How do we feel about Turkey being a little bit in NATO, a little bit out of NATO, and a little bit friendly towards Russia? Would you expect your loved ones, would I expect my loved ones, to go to fight for Turkey when they can't decide whether there are friends or foes?
Well, I think it's a really difficult position, Colin. And, Turkey believes that the PKK, Kurdish resistance fighters, are terrorists, and seems to think that, I think it's Sweden, has been helping them out. So it is a really tricky area here. But I must say, in all the work that I've done in Syria on the humanitarian side, I've found the Turks the most steadfast and the most helpful. And when so many other countries really turn their back on Syria and let the humanitarian situation go to pieces in the front of Russian aggression, it was really just the Turks who helped. So it's a really tricky position. But I think today is a very important day for NATO. It is a terribly sad fact that these two countries, Finland and Sweden, who've sought fit to be neutral for so many years, now believe that that is an untenable situation with Russian aggression in Ukraine, and they're joining NATO. I think very much strengthens NATO, strengthens our resolve, and gives us much better security, particularly across Europe. But it is a sad reflection on where we are. But as we know, this illegal invasion by Russia, which the Russians thought would be well over by now, is escalating. And I think by having these two very powerful countries join us, very powerful in military terms, hopefully it'll make it less likely that Putin will escalate to other weaponry, particularly on the nuclear side, I'm thinking here, and perhaps will bring him to the negotiation table a bit earlier than would have happened hitherto.
And just in terms of troop deployment, so we're looking at a greatly increased number of British troops to a country like Estonia, do you think?
Well, I think that's certainly what Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary, has been mentioning today, firming up our battle group in Estonia, perhaps talk about increasing that to brigade size, which would probably be 2 or 3 times the size. But also, very importantly, the day before yesterday, General Patrick Sanders, the new Chief of the General Staff, has said we must reconfigure our military to make sure that it can defeat Russia, because for the last 20 years or so, we've been fighting counterinsurgency, Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And it's a very different battle, a very different force structure that you need to fight an army like Russia. And we need to restructure for that. And lots of talk about defence spending. We've really taken risks with our military since the end of the Cold War. And, it is the first job of the government to provide the security for this country. And that ostensibly comes from the military and security services, but ostensibly the military. And we now need to make sure that our military going forward is fit for purpose so that we can ensure that Russia goes no further than it is at the moment.